Okay, so in today's lesson, we are looking at adding and subtracting decimals. Be sure to always, when you're adding and subtracting, anyways, you need to line up the decimal point and then drop it straight on down into the answer. That way, your dimes get added with dimes, your pennies get added with pennies, your fractions of pennies get added, and dollars and so on as we go on up. So here we go. Let's see what it's asking us to do. It says select the correct vertical calculation for 16 minus 1.4. Well, right here, the decimal points don't line up. I can't draw on that one, but I really need it to be 16.0, and then the decimal points need to line up like that. And so with 1.4, I'm going to be like, that's going to be how it sets up. And so it's that one there. And how do I know? The decimals need to line up. The decimal points need to line up when adding or subtracting. And so here we go. Submit. Determine the value of each expression. I've got a 0 and 27 hundredths getting added to 4 hundredths. I get that that's 31 hundredths. 0.31. Yeah, digitally it doesn't matter. And then I've got 0 and 35 hundredths. Minus 0 and 1/10. I'm going to put an extra 0 on that, even though it doesn't really, it's not really there, but just to line up the numbers better. I've got 5 hundredths minus 0 hundredths is 5 hundredths. 3 tenths minus 1/10 is 2 tenths. 0 minus 0, I get 25 cents. 0.25. Submit. Here we go, some more. 43 hundredths, 9 hundredths, 9,000, sorry, no, 9 hundredths. Adding, I've got 52 hundredths, and if I put the 0 there, it doesn't matter. It's okay, either way. 0 and 755 thousandths minus 0 and 405 thousandths. 0, 5, 3. And so even here, like, my calculator would just say that it was 0.35. Doing it by hand, I get that extra 0, and that's the way most math teachers would know if you were using a calculator for these. So it says we cannot subtract 197 from 20 because 20 doesn't have... Yeah, if you had $20, it would look like this. And then if you wanted to spend $1.97 at the store, you can totally do that. I'm going to make that 1 in the tens place makes that 10, but now I need dimes, so that's going to be $9. This would be 10 dimes. I'm going to borrow from that, make it 9 dimes, and make this ends up being 10. And so I get 3, 0, 8, I'd have $18.03 as change. We cannot. No, they're not. I totally just subtracted it. You just need to line up the decimal points. Heck, even if we end up going negative, we'll learn integers later on, and if you haven't already, you can go negative if needed. Here we go. Here's a diagram showing prices at a store. Hong would like to buy a pencil, a hat, and 2 binders. He estimates the total cost would be less than 20 bucks. So if I've got 2 of those at $3.15 each, I'm going to spend $6.30. Well, right away, $14 plus $6 is more than 20. No, I don't even need to do the full math. But if I did it, $14.50 plus $6.30 plus 30, I get that that's 1. I get that it's $21.10. Oops, 21.10. And so definitely don't have enough. Explain your thinking. 21.10. Make that dollars. I'm going to put the dollar sign in front. Is more than $20. Oh wait, estimate the number of pencils you could buy with $5. Okay, we've got a division problem here, but it's an estimation. So if, I mean, technically I would set it up like this, but that's going to be later in this chapter. But let's say if I can get 3 for $1, 30 cents each, 3 would be 90 cents. And so I'm looking at like 15, and it's going to be really close. So estimate the number. Let's see how close I actually have to get. I'm just going to say 15 for this one. So if I can get 3 for $1, and then I've got $5. Let's see if it gives me credit for that when I get there. Rectangular prism is 2.5 centimeters by 8 centimeters by so I'm looking at an a rectangular prism like this. I've got 2.5 by 8 by 1.5. Multiply all that together to find the volume. So I've got 8/1 times 2.5 is 5 halves. 1.5 is 3 halves. 2 divided by 8, I get a 4 and a 1. I get a 2 and a 1. I've got 10, 30. 30 cubic centimeters. And let's see if they let me get away with that estimation. Yeah. So at this point, they didn't really need me to do all that math, but to do the long division for number 9. But we're all correct in that. If you have any questions, ask in class. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next video.